What's up, YouTube? It's Jedediah. Welcome all my brothers and sisters in Christ. You know how you guys doing today? Today I'm coming with you guys with another video, and today this is biblical traits of a godly man. So before I get started, like what I want to talk about is, in this video, this is for my men. You know what I'm saying, for my brothers. A lot of the time, as men, we struggle with what it means or what a real man looks like. You know what I'm saying? And we have all these different things. We have all these red pill rage, and you're either a beta or alpha. You know what I'm saying? You're red pill, you're blue pill, you're this, you're that. And I could just quick little rundown. At a point in my life, bro, I was low key red pill. You know what I'm saying? And for me, it wasn't even from watching YouTube. Like, I started seeing red pill content later down the line, and that kind of made me go into a red pill rage too. But like, even before I was like looking at videos about that stuff, I was already kind of like red pilled. And I say that because like what I thought a man was like, being toxic. You get what I'm saying? Just it's my way or no way. All females are thoughts. You get what I'm saying? Because that's just kind of how like I grew up. Like the way a lot of if you're like me, if you grew up like me, just like in the neighborhood, like this is what's cool, this isn't what's cool. You know what I'm saying? Simping is not, it's frowned upon, and you know what I'm saying? Being toxic is cool. And honestly, bro, like back then, like it worked. Like, you know what I'm saying? Being toxic, like being like just overly masculine, like in a sense, or just how I treated women and just, how I carried myself, it worked. I'm not gonna lie, it did work. But what we have to understand is like, and just for instance, for like a situation of like dealing with women or something like that, a woman that's like attracted to that type of man or like behavior is something that you really wouldn't even want to deal with. Like, you feel me? That's not even the type of female that you would really want. But, back then it was cool for me or whatever. But down the line, I started actually watching red pill content, and I was like, well, I'm already like this. Like, I've never really been a simp or nothing like that. But watching that made me like really double down. Like, yeah, all female, you gotta treat, hot and cold, be toxic, whatever. And so if you're like me, a lot of y'all probably, had your phase of that. Or you might be like on the other side of, the beta males, like, oh, I treat girls, okay, whatever. But what I'm saying is this, though. As Christian men, we shouldn't be holding ourselves to the standards of the world. You get what I'm saying? Whichever way that goes, if you're alpha or if you're beta, if you're red pill or if you're blue pill. The thing is, those are worldly standards. You feel me? This is what the world tries to push on the people, to society. It tries to push on degeneracy to our society. And we have to realize, as godly men, we can't entertain or be influenced by any of that at all, because because what does it say in the word of God, bro? You cannot serve God. You can't love God and love the world. God is light. You feel me? God is that light. Light can't mix with darkness. There's no part of God that can be darkness or evil, not even a little bit. And what is the world? The world's God, and that's what a lowercase g is, the devil. You get what I'm saying? So nothing of the world can even correlate with the things of God. So therefore, any standard that is made by the world, we as godly men, we can't operate with that. You get what I'm saying? Our identity isn't in the world standards or what the world thinks of us. It's what God thinks of us. You get what I'm saying? It's our identity is in Christ. So we're totally different than the red pill, the blue pill. We're not any of that. You know what I'm saying? Our identity and the way we should carry ourselves as godly men is men of honor. You know what I'm saying? Men that would impress and imitate how Jesus was. You get what I'm saying? So how do we do that? And that's what I'm here to talk with you guys about today. So one of the signs of, and like none of these are necessarily in order or anything like that, but one of the signs or traits of, I'll say a trait of godly man is, humility and being humble. Puts other needs before him, serves others, someone that's teachable. So In Micah chapter 6, verse 8, it says, He has told you, O man, what is good, and what does the Lord require of you, but to do justice and to love kindness and to walk humble with your God. So what does that mean? So being humble, right? It's actually the exact opposite of kind of like the red pill, because the red pill is like real prideful, you know what I'm saying? Real cocky, oh, puff myself up. But in the Bible, it talks about, God despises the proud, but he's near and he loves the people that are humble. Being humble is being able to be teachable, being able to listen, you know what I'm saying? Being able to receive advice and not think you know everything. Because a good leader is someone that's also a good follower. A good teacher is someone that's also a good learner. You know what I'm saying? And that's what having humility is. It's making yourself less than. It doesn't mean that you let no one walk over you or anything like that, but it's able to make yourself less than and not think of yourself as anything bigger than. Let God, you know what I'm saying? Let God give you that praise. Don't ever give it to yourself. Being humble is, like I said, putting others' needs before his own, sacrificing for others to help others, serving. If that's feeding the homeless, you know what I'm saying? If that's giving money, and sometimes like I believe in giving money to the church. Don't get me wrong, but that's not the only way to like be a good steward with your money. At the end of the day, you could use your money to give to someone in need. Even if it's buying them food, maybe it's buying somebody even a ride somewhere, or maybe bus fare. It could look at all different types of ways, but you're serving, you're giving instead of taking. You know what I'm saying? You're giving instead of taking. You know what I'm saying? So the next one I wrote down is someone that has a trait of a godly man is a man with integrity. I'm sorry. So what does that mean? So a man that's truthful, honest, trustworthy, transparent. You're gonna keep it real, even when it's hard to do it. In Proverbs chapter 11, verse 3, it says, the integrity of the upright guides them, but the crookedness of the treacherous destroys them. When you have integrity, you're trustworthy in the sense of you're dependable, and a good example of that is one, keeping your word. Keeping your word. As men, that's almost the only thing we got is our word. You get what I'm saying? Whatever you say you're gonna do, you do it. You get it done. You don't just make. That's why it says in the Bible, don't tell God, don't make promises to God of things you're not gonna really do. Don't swear to God and I'm gonna do this, God, and then not do it. He'd rather you just not say it at all. Same with people. I remember, as a kid, like I would hate when like my pops, and I love my dad, man. He planted this foundation. So my God is a Christian, but this is just an example. Like he was telling me he was gonna do this or do something, and then he didn't do it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, plenty of people done that to me in my life. They say they're gonna do this for me, and then they don't do it. And it's like I'd rather you just not even said you was gonna do it if you couldn't do it. So hold, stay to your word, stay true to your word, bro. Being truthful, being honest, being able to not be a liar. You know what I'm saying? That's what being truthful is, man. Also being transparent. And when I said like keeping it real, it's hard to keep it real nowadays, bro, because a lot of people rather tickle your ears, like they like to tickle people's ears. They rather feed into people's egos, or they rather, because at the end of the day, we know the saying, bro, the truth hurts. You know what I'm saying? The truth hurts. It's not easy to tell people the truth sometimes, man. You get what I'm saying? It's not easy to tell people the truth sometimes. And even on the flip side of it, it's hard for us to hear the truth. Especially if it's like feels like you're getting attacked by the truth. But that's why I talk about in the Bible, a wise man is able to receive criticism or instruction or guidance or correction without getting angry. But a fool, he's defensive and he gets mad about everything when someone's trying to correct him. And really the reason I say like it's important for you to be truthful and things like that is because if you really love someone, you're going to tell them the truth even if it hurts them. If you people that lie to people and don't show them when they're in the wrong just because they don't want to like maybe face confrontation, or that's weak, and they don't really love that person like that. Because for me personally, even if it hurts, I'd rather someone tell me the truth and to just lie in my face, because at the end of the day, that doesn't really help me. Okay, so another thing that I wrote down, a trait of a godly man is a man with self-control. And that, I feel like, obviously this isn't in order, but that's one of the most important ones, bro. It's self-control. A lot of men, you know, they're weak, bro. They're like women. They can't control their emotions. They can't control, their urges. They can't control, fighting off temptation. They have no type of self control. And if you don't have any type of self control, how can you even lead? You know what I'm saying? How can you even be, a decent father, a decent husband, or just even a decent man? You can't, if you don't have any type of self control, you'll never be able to lead. If you can't control your emotions and you let emotions control you, you're going to always react off of how you feel instead of logic. And when you react off how you feel, that's how. Because listen, like for me, I didn't been in jail or whatever, and I've gone to jail off of making mistakes out of anger. You get what I'm saying? Because I couldn't control my emotions. In the moment, I let my emotions control me, and that's dangerous. So we have to be able to control our emotions. Another thing with self control, we got to be able to control ourselves, because temptations. At the end of the day, when temptation comes, and they're always gonna come, if you fall into them, you can't blame anyone but yourself, because we all have a free will. You get what I'm saying? We have free will. So if you have no type of self-control, it's you know what I'm saying? It's like a muscle, bro. It's something you have to work on. You're not gonna just have it overnight. But the more and more you work on it, the stronger and stronger it gets. But if you have no type of self-control and all you do is fall into temptation, how are you ever going to be able to get out of temptation? How are you ever going to be able to successfully? And like I said, some things, is Christ. Christ is our strength, because sometimes we're just absolutely too weak, and we need something that's beyond our power to get through a situation. But it also says, like, you'll never be tempted beyond a measure of where you can't overcome it. God will always find. God will always provide a way out. But a lot of time, people just give in. Like, there's a way out, but they still just give in because they can't control themselves. You get what I'm saying? And self-control ultimately also just has to do with like discipline, bro. And ways that you could build your discipline, ways you can do that is, like, for me, I'll say, like, to start with, like, working out. Because if you can be disciplined with like your physique and working out, oh my bad, man, my hair is itching. If you can be disciplined, like when it comes to like your physique, your temple. This is our temple, and it belongs to God, really. But if you can start being disciplined with that, you can be disciplined with finances, bro. Your health, like I said, just it all comes together basically. You know what I'm saying? It all correlates. But having self-control and discipline is a very important trait of a godly man. Um, I'll say patience. Patience is another trait of a godly man, and that's one of the hardest. It's one of the hardest, like, attributes, or like things that you could possibly, that you're gonna have to work on. You know what I'm saying? It's necessary. Like, it's mandatory that you develop patience, but it's one of the hardest things, bro. But having the trait of patience, you're in things for it's the longevity of things. Not the instant dopamine. It's delayed gratification, but it's also patience. Also strengthens your faith. You know what I'm saying? It strengthens your faith, because faith is something that is built over time. Because you have to go through things, like you have to go through things for your faith to be built. And a lot of the things that you have to go through to build your faith are like unpleasant things. It's hard things that you don't want to go through, bro. You know what I'm saying? And it takes time. And nobody really likes to wait, but that's the problem with our society today. Everyone wants it right now, the instant gratification. You know what I'm saying? Everyone wants the riches, the money now. Everyone wants it now, 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 now. People can't wait for anything. But what I've learned in my life too is, like, the faster you get something, the faster you lose it, because it don't mean as much to you. You know what I'm saying? Because you didn't have to wait for it. But anything that's good, anything that's meaningful, significant in life, it takes time get to it. You know what I'm saying? It's worth the wait. But patience is a very important trait of a godly man. So another important trait is is a man's devotion to God. And what does that mean? That's putting God first. And by putting God first, you take action. You know what I'm saying? You're responsible. You're loving. Because the thing is this, we're able to do all things through Christ, right? And when you're able to be devoted to God, the only way that you can love God is to love our brothers and sisters. The only way that you could truly love God or and show your love for God is through your actions, bro. It's not necessarily, you can, it's through words, worship, but it's really through action, bro. Taking action. That's what faith is. That's why it says faith without works is dead. You have to put in action. You have to put in work. You have to put in, you know what I'm saying, the motions, the steps to show your devotion for God, bro. To show your faith, to show that you trust. Obedience. Obedience is a action. You have to be obedient. Obedience shows, you know what I'm saying, that you have faith and that you trust God. Obedience shows that you respect God, but you have to take action. Having a devotion, a man's devotion to God is something that is a action, bro. It's a verb. It's a verb. It's something that's moving. It's something that's working. It's not just being still. And that sometimes God tells you to be still and stuff like that. But for the most part, it's taking that leap of faith, bro. You get what I'm saying? Um, fruits of the spirit. I put that down. Spiritually mature, fruits of the spirit. Fruits of the spirit is what? Being loving, being kind, being honest. You know what I'm saying? These are all action words, bro. These are all active things, being active with your faith by having works. And even though we're not saved by works, we're saved through faith, but faith produces works. Faith produces good works. You get what I'm saying? So it all correlates. It all falls in line with each other. So, but that's an important trait of God is his devotion. This is an important trait of a godly man is his devotion to God. Matthew 10:38 says, "But seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all things should be added to you." So this is an active seeking. This isn't just a passive waiting around, just waiting on faith. Because even though God could bless you through you doing nothing, by you doing something, it just shows God how much you trust him. Like, I'm gonna move, even though God, I don't know, how this is gonna work out, and even though, like, I'm gonna just trust you. Because there's situations I've been in where it's just like I almost get like stuck and stagnant because like something's not going my way, or like even if I wasn't in the wrong and something happens, it's like, well, God, I know you're gonna show up, so I'm just waiting around. God, I'm waiting on you, man. I'm waiting for you to show up. But if I'm just sitting there not being faithful, not being a good steward with my temple, still working out or still serving, if I'm not doing any of these things while I wait, it's just like pointless. God's like, why aren't you? Because by you continuing and trusting me and showing you're not worried, by not letting what's tribulations in your way just stop you and keep you stagnant, you're really showing how much you trust God, bro. So that's very important. And then that last thing that I wrote down, sorry, is no love for the world. That's a very important sign of a godly man, is a man that, he has no love for this world. And what you have to also understand is, and I put hated by many. The reason I put that is because when you're a godly man, bro, when you're that light, when you're walking in Christ, it might feel as if you're doing something wrong because for some reason, all these people hate you, bro. All these people start turning against you and you start having all these negative like interactions with people, like even people you love, bro, even your partner, even your homeboys, bro, even your family. You get what I'm saying? Even your friend, people that you was cool with, all of a sudden, it's like you're having a hard time with everybody. And it might feel like you're the problem because it's like, if there's everybody, you're getting to it with everybody, the common denominator is you. You see what I'm saying? So you might think like, bro, what am I doing wrong? Like maybe it's me. Like maybe I am doing something wrong because I just fell out with this person, and now all of a sudden, this family member is acting weird toward me, and random people I don't even know, like just people on my job, they're just acting, weird, like they have an issue with me, and I go to the gym, people act like that. It's just so it feels like, well, maybe I'm the problem, but no, I'm telling you right now, because if you're not doing nothing wrong, like you know what I'm saying, like, and mind you, you're really working on your walk with God. You're trying to be, humble. You're having self control. You have integrity. You have patience. You're showing your faith. You're witnessing. You're spreading the gospel. It's like you feel like you're doing everything right, but for some reason people still don't like you, bro. It's because you have to understand, like I said earlier, light and dark cannot mix. When you're of Christ, those that are spiritually dead, they're gonna hate you because that light that you have, it irritates their demons. You know what I'm saying? So those demons want you to think that you're doing something wrong. You see what I'm saying? They're and sometimes it could be people that are also saved, but like maybe they're, drifting from God and they're not where they should be. So when you see them or when they see you living the way that you're supposed to live, it kind of convicts them and now they don't want to be around that. Because that can happen too. You get what I'm saying? But for the most part, it's usually the people that are spiritually dead. They're spiritually dead, so they start giving you problems. Because listen, when you were in the world, everyone loved you, bro. When I was in the world, bro, everybody loved me. I mean, I still have people that hated me, because yeah, for a reason I'm not, you know what I'm saying? Because of the life I lived, people still hated me regardless. But like a lot of people love me though. You feel me? And really wasn't even really love, bro, because that's not love. Because if they love you when you're doing all the wrong things, but then when you start doing better for yourself and you start doing the right things, and now all of a sudden they don't like you, that means they never loved you in the first place, bro. They just love the, entertain and indulge in evilness with you. It's not that they love you; they just like the evil things that y'all do together. You get what I'm saying? But when you start facing those type of problems and stuff, bro, where it's like everyone's hates you, bro, just remember, bro, you're not doing anything wrong. John 15:19. If you were of the world will love you as its own. But because you are not of the world, but I chose you out of the world, therefore the world hates you. And you gotta always remember, bro, if they hated Jesus, of course they're gonna hate us. Of course they're gonna hate us, bro. They hated Jesus. The only person, he ain't never wronged nobody. He never sinned. He literally never did anything wrong. And they still hated him. And he was the Son of God, and they hated him. So of course they're gonna hate us because there's times where I didn't wrong people. You see what I'm saying? I'm not innocent. You're not. None of us are innocent. None of us are perfect. And there might have been things we did in the past that was wrong to people, so they have a reason to not like us. You feel me? But God didn't. Jesus didn't do nothing to nobody, and they hated him. So what can we expect? All we can expect is for those to hate us. So you're not bugging, you're not tripping, you're not in the wrong, you're not out of pocket, you're not none of that, bro. This is what comes with this walk, bro. They don't. The devil, the demons, the people that are spiritually dead, they're going to be threatened by your light because the light exposes the darkness. That people like to hide in their darkness, but when that light comes out and it exposes them, bro. The light, like when the witch when they hit her with the light or whatever they hit her with, she started melting. Oh man, you feel me? You feel me? When the light gets to the, you know what I'm saying? It exposes things that people be trying to hide in, bro. You start convicting people. You start, you know what I'm saying? That's why people get rubbed the wrong way. It's not because you're doing anything wrong, bro. It's because you're doing everything right, bro. So just remember that. So this was kind of a longer video, so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up here. If you haven't, like, subscribe, comment, you know what I'm saying? Just give me the engagement and, send this to someone that you feel might need to hear the message. You get what I'm saying? So I love you guys. I'll see you guys in the next video. God bless you all. Keep going.